So, what would you consider to be the weirdest SpongeBob episode? Would it be something like I Was a Teenage Gary? Or something much newer like Whirly Brains? Well, my answer would lie right in the middle of those two episodes. I'm talking about the Season 5 special, Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. Despite how panned it is, I've never disliked this episode, because I've always had too much of a fascination with it to truly consider it good or bad. It is worth noting that I first saw this episode with a bitch of a headache and fever around 2011, which certainly gave me a weird impression. But even without that, I'd still think this episode is weird. It just has this certain vibe, not from beginning to end, but it hits you like a brick when it does pop up. It starts off with SpongeBob waking up, eager to start another great day, only for the bad luck he doesn't usually have to cause him to mess things up for his friends, to which they snap at him angrier than they've ever snapped at him before. Except Squidward, he's done that before. It's not like this throughout the whole runtime, thankfully, but god, everyone's just so mean to SpongeBob here over things he didn't maliciously do. They also call him Idiot Boy, which doesn't make sense at all. Did they have some sort of anti-SpongeBob meeting and come to agreement on that name? Wouldn't have been the only time they did something that mean to SpongeBob in unison. This just feels like something that worked more naturally for a show that had an established mean-spirited tone from the beginning, not SpongeBob. SpongeBob then packs his things and leaves Bikini Bottom before we get... the strangest fever dream of a suspenseful moment upon SpongeBob being forced out of Bikini Bottom. In this panic, SpongeBob falls off a cliff and hits his head to the point of being presumed dead. Nah, just kidding. We then get a moment of tearful regret from everyone upon reading SpongeBob's goodbye letter, which does heavy lifting and redeeming them. Well, almost everyone. Squidward is overjoyed that SpongeBob is gone. Considering some of the things he'd go on to do to him in the very next season, I almost don't blame him. Almost. We then cut back to SpongeBob waking up, only he can't remember who he is thanks to amnesia from his head injury. That's one of the main things that makes the special stand out as something especially weird to me. We pretty much follow a character who is indeed SpongeBob, but isn't meant to be there as SpongeBob, and as a result, he's more down and depressed than SpongeBob would usually be, which just breaks my heart for him. Anyway, SpongeBob is now in another town known as New Kelp City, and after getting some jobs that he gets fired from due to everyone being terrified of bubbles for some reason, and a particular disturbing close-up that always reminds me of a thumbnail for a creepypasta, Patrick, Sandy, and Squidward go searching for SpongeBob. Squidward only doing so for a jewel-encrusted egg. I only mention that because it does prove to be plot relevant later. It is then revealed the reason everyone in this town are terrified of bubbles is because of a gang called the Bubble Poppin' Boys, who beat up anyone who blows them. Season 9 did the Greaser parody better. SpongeBob then rids New Kelp City of the Bubble Poppin' Boys and becomes mayor. And despite SpongeBob not technically being there right now, I always love the moment where his eyes water at being given love and respect for the first time this special. Makes you wish the amnesia wasn't part of the special. Patrick and Sandy then find Mayor SpongeBob and interrupt a speech he's giving. SpongeBob of course doesn't remember them and brushes them off to go to a meeting. Fortunately, before SpongeBob can be gone forever, Squidward steals the limo he's in and returns him to the Krusty Krab. Even being in a more than familiar place like that doesn't bring his memory back, and SpongeBob goes off to continue his duty as mayor, dropping his spatula in the process. Squidward then gets his fancy egg from Mr. Krabs, and after a few seconds of geeking out over it, Squidward slips on SpongeBob's spatula, which launches the egg in the air where it breaks on SpongeBob's head, restoring his memory. Happy ending for all except Squidward, status quo resets. I'll be honest, despite this being the weirdest, debatably most mean-spirited special, it's definitely far more effective and interesting as a special than a few later ones like SpongeBob You're Fired and Clash of Triton. And as I said in the beginning, I wouldn't even consider it bad, but it definitely doesn't go above a D tier. Compared to my second pick for a weirdest episode, Spongehenge, which I would consider bad, this one fares a lot better. Stuff like SpongeBob losing everything he loved and his last ever interaction with Patrick being a sour one just make that episode irredeemable for me and not one I like to revisit. Also, that song has been periodically stuck in my head since I made my first 100 episodes ranking over a year ago. I wish I was exaggerating. But that's enough about that. What is the episode you'd call the weirdest episode of SpongeBob? I'd love to know. Also, what do you think of the new intro? I figured it was time to make a new one, mainly for gaming videos, which I'm eventually going to be pivoting to. But the old intro will stay for a few future videos that I feel fit. Just something I wanted to test out. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and comment to let me know what you think, and I'd also appreciate it if you check me out on Twitter. Link in the description. And until next time, this has been the one and only Mr. Titan. Have a good day, night, or whatever right now looks like for you.